All right, I'm sorry about that. We're going to start all over again. Welcome. I am the Loon, and welcome to the Weekly Charge Up, our eighth episode and final episode for this titled um, podcast. I'll explain later on, but if you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today's date is April 27th, 2025. Today's topic is going to be finding time for you, which is very, very nice topic. But we're going to get into that. But first, we want to recap on our topic that we hit last week, which is aging talk. Be careful what you wish for. So, as I was mentioning before, I found out a lot of wonderful things going through this exercise, and I hope you did about yourself. Once the acceptance of the aging process happened, and we view this as being our second adolescent stage, it's quite beautiful what you may want to accomplish in life. Still, there is this unspoken conception that once we hit this certain age, that there is nothing that we can do. That is not true. That our life is over, we're done, it's time to relax. But if you're constantly learning, there's always something to do, something exciting to do, something exciting to learn. Think back to when you were a teenager and how excited you were and you wanted to get into adulthood. This is the second chance to get into adulthood, your second adulthood, and learning more of what you want to learn with more of a experience, more of a knowledge base that you will have. Um, I've I've decided to hit some goals. I mean, I already decided to hit some goals because I'm reading. I work with Luke, who you guys know from the joint podcast we have, Can We Talk with the Loon and Luke, which we're late on a few things, but some things take some investigating. But we will talk about the new format later. But now we're going to talk about finding time for you, which I think is very important, and it should be important to every single individual, is finding the time for yourself, pursuing your likes, and taking care of yourself physically. I said last week that we are going through our second adolescence once you hit a certain age. The thing about that is that there are some limitations. We don't have the body of the first adolescence stage that we went through. We have aches and pains, results of basically neglect that we did during our life because, we thought we were going to live forever and we weren't going to age. And despite the fact that we are faced every day with those who age, with elderly, we just think it's a myth. In the back of our mind, it's a myth. It's not going to happen to me. It does happen. So when you move forward with the concept of your second adolescence, you have to have the realization that we do have limitations. Um, I wear reading glasses now. I have contacts on, but I wear reading glasses. It took me a year to admit that I needed reading glasses. Are they annoying to me right now? Yes, they'll always be annoying because if I want to do something as simple as reading on my phone, I have to pull out my reading glasses, which these pair doesn't have it, but I have the neck thing. This is taking care of you. Admitting, one, that limitations do occur, but the taking care of you part is not just admitting it, but taking the steps to accommodate those needs. I always have to have my glasses nearby, whether I like it or not. Because I'm filming right now and I'm live, I have these where I could pull off. But I usually, in my day-to-day work, I have the ones that go around my neck because I don't always have pockets to carry my glasses. And my glasses are my sight view. Admitting what you need to do. These are steps of taking care of you. These are little things that make your life that much easier, which helps encourage you to do the things and pursue what you want to pursue. What am I talking about? Well, let's look at something that we all neglect: getting the proper amount of sleep. Now, most people sit there and think, okay, at this age, we're still working. We still got to get up early in the morning to catch that bus or get in the car and travel and get to work. So you think, I can't get that sleep. It's your responsibility as an adult. Yes, I did say we're going through our second adolescence, but as an adult, you have to get the proper sleep that's good for you. This week, I was speaking to someone who has so much energy, and they admitted to me that they only get 5 hours sleep. I can't function under 5 hours sleep, but it works for them. They're also more active than I am, which is something else I'm going to bring up. Taking care of your health and exercising. First, you get the proper amount of sleep. Proper amount of sleep is, you might have to change your mattress. You might have to change what you sleep on what you can afford. It relieves stress. Um, Last night, I actually went to bed extremely early. And to tell you the truth, today, and I'm not going to do it, I feel like I could run a couple of laps. Just by doing something as simple as getting the proper amount of sleep that I need, my body needs. Everybody's different. Some people could work on 5 hours sleep. Some people need 12 hours sleep. If that means during the day, even though the sun is setting later, if that means when the sun is setting and you're still going to sleep, or a couple hours before you need to go to bed, you need to go to bed. Take care of you. A wise person told me a couple of years back, if you don't take care of yourself, no one else will. You'll end up in pain. You'll end up in with aches and pains that you can't deal with. Which brings me to another topic: exercise. Exercise is key. I personally hate the stairs. Unfortunately, I live in a walk up with no elevators. So, in the beginning of the day and the end of the day of my work day, and if I choose to go out or get deliveries, I have no choice. I have to go up and down stairs. But it shouldn't be like that. Try doing some exercise. Now, I'm speaking to the women who are going through perimenopause. And when I mention this, you're going to understand why I would mention this. Because there are things that happen to us during perimenopause that people just don't talk about, which is why I'm rebranding this podcast. Because we're going to talk about everything every Sunday. Because we got to be real. I like to look through things through rose-colored glasses. And through every positive aspect I try to focus on, there are negative aspects that has to be dealt with. So life is not just a bed of roses. Life is not rainbows and sunshines and Skittles raining instead of the downpour that we had yesterday here in New York, at least where I live. We have to be realistic. Being realistic is part of the process of finding time for you. So, for my sisters going through perimenopause or menopause, I discovered, and I'm doing it, and it's probably why I'm feeling a bit better, because I decided I wanted to lose weight. Weight management is very difficult for us to manage. And if you've been as cruel to your body as I have been in my youth, When the pains come in, it's harder to exercise. But I found something called pelvic Pilates. You could put it in the search and you'll see plenty of videos on it. And first of all, I'm going to admit, I was embarrassed because some of the simplest exercises, which I used to do without a second thought with ease, have become difficult for me. Which for me, finding time for me and being alerted to myself means I need to work on that. You're not as agile as you are. Your body works different. Your body's movements, whether physically or biologically, are not the same. And if you want that, since we're going through our second adolescence, you're going to have to make some accommodations. You can't just jump out of bed and be like, all right, I'm ready for the day. You can't do the all-nighters for the whole weekend and get up and go to work on Monday and not be affected. Let's be real. That's not what it's all about. It's all about care. It's about eating regular meals, healthy meals, meals that work with you. Pay attention to what you're putting in your body and how it affects your body. Finding time for you is also cooking your meals. It's also taking care of yourself. Finding time for you is self-care and self-love. So, that being said, how do you find time for you? For a lot of females and some males, not so much the males, but more the females. To us, taking care of ourselves is going and getting a manicure, pedicure, and whatever wax you choose to get. But that's not enough. Finding time for you happens every day. Taking a shower every day is a no-brainer. Brushing your teeth every day is a no-brainer. Grooming yourself is a no-brainer. But what else are you doing? Are you watching what you're putting in yourself? That's taking time for you. Are you eating and working at the same time, or are you sitting down in a quiet space, a separate space, and actually enjoying the meal that you have? Take time for you. My breaks are usually consisting of me going out for a smoke. And just like some people are annoyed when people bother them with lunch, I get annoyed when I'm having a smoking and I'm bothered. Not all the times, but most of the time. Because that's my time. Be precious, and it's okay to be selfish with your time. It's all right to want your time for you. Some of us work 35, 40 hours, and some even more a week. And at the time you're working, your focus is on the work. Then on top of that, a lot of us are going to school because you want a second education, or you're trying to progress. That's time away from you. Granted, going to school is not bad. It's just that you're trying to help yourself in the future. You're trying to educate yourself. But there are things you could do for you. For example, every Sunday is take care of my locks day. I take care of my locks. I redo my locks. I make sure my locks are good. Every other Sunday is laundry day. These are little things. Most of the time when you tell people to take time for them, they're thinking about going to a spa, taking vacation, things that occur rarely, like maybe once, twice a year occasion. That's what I'm talking about. You are here every day. You wake up every morning, you take a breath every morning, and you are someone who needs to be taken care of. Does that mean you could start a routine at home? I mean, you don't always have to go to the pedicures and manicures to get things done. You could get a foot spa and soak your feet at the end of the day, especially if you're on your feet. My nurses, my construction workers, if you're on your feet every day, all day, there's nothing wrong sitting down, putting a nice warm water and Epsom salt or whatever you like to do, and have yourself a foot spa every other day. The little things lead to bigger things. You're a happier you, you're a more functional you, and you work better. You need to find that relaxation time. You need to de stress. Those nights where you can't sleep and you're tossing and turning, or you have to have the TV on to distract you, those are times that you don't relax. I was thinking today of my parents' love language, comparing it to my love language, comparing it to the people I know love language. Well, look at it in that aspect. What is your relaxation language? What do you need to do to relax? What do you need to do to unwind? It doesn't have to be big. Some people it's reading a book. And some people can't get through the first page of a book before dozing off at night. For some people, it's watching whatever show you're watching or catching up on. Um, I don't recommend that one because it tends to be distracting and keeps you up. But if that's what can relax you to the point where you could have a good night's sleep, have at it. So this week, we're going to work on finding our relaxation language. Or the moment you leave work, you travel home, and the moment you walk through that door, what is it that helps you unwind, leave the drama and the task of the day that you just had behind, and just enjoy being in your own skin? So that's what we're going to do this week. And we'll see what we come up with. Now, I did mention this is going to be the last episode of the weekly charge up. And as I mentioned before, the weekly charge up, I try to keep positive and to do self growth. That's what the purpose of it was, to encourage you during the week to think about self growth. Well, I've come to the realization that, that's not enough. It's enough if you live in a bubble. And the majority of people who come across this video do not live in a bubble. We have to go out into the world, and the world is a very tumultuous place right now. It's very uncertain, and a lot of people have concerns. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start a brand new podcast starting next Sunday. Hopefully it will be at 11 every week, because I understand that most people, first of all, don't get up so early in the morning. That's for true. Especially on a Sunday. Plus, I want to call it the Weekly Brunch. You could grab your mimosa. Yes, I have a mimosa. You could grab your mimosa, grab your cigarettes, grab your cigar, grab your coffee. We're just going to talk. And we're not just going to talk about the topics that I choose to talk about, because there will be a positive vibe, but we're going to go ahead and see if our achievement, we're going to do a checklist of achievements. I'm going to include my gardening. I am not using special software, so I don't know if I can show while I'm talking my little seedlings that I have growing very so nicely. My peas for this time of year that's growing, and stuff that I have coming up for the upcoming summer, like my tomatoes. I hope to share my progress with my garden, and we could share some information, because we had a downpour and I looked at my water buffalo downstairs and it collapsed on me. So I'm going to see what I can do about fixing that. Although yesterday was a prime time to get at least a quarter filled, and I don't think it even got that much. So we're going to see about that. We're going to talk about composting in a small area because I do live in an apartment. So I'm hoping for those who live in the city who wants to be self-sufficient, um, how you could do it within a small space. If you have a landlord that has space, like most apartments have a back area that no one ever uses, um, and it's just like wasted space. If you have a landlord that'll let you do that, how I'm putting mine together, it's a wreck right now, but slowly and surely is going to come together. Also, um, I am going to share my recipes of the week and how I prepare my food for not just lunch, although I don't usually eat lunch at work due to dietary concerns, and I'm trying to deal with my gut health, which will be a topic we discuss too as we get older is important. But what I do to make sure when I have terrible back pains and or I have pains and I come home, I'm exhausted, and actually even turning on my stove would be a problem. How I have pre-made food, and you don't need a fancy kitchen, you don't need fancy tools. I try to be as a minimalist as possible. I'm not saying that's what you have to do, but that's just an aspect of what you can do. Um, One of the things, and I'm going to have to hit back to this, about going through your second adolescence is that you could learn skills and things to do that are beneficial. You do have a little bit more to worry about at this stage of life because your finances are important. And we're also going to talk about that, what we need to do to be able to have a successful retirement age. Because at this point, your late 40s up until your 50s, what's on your mind is retirement. You want to retire. And if you're like me, who I have people who are younger than me that they go on vacations. That's their thing. Every year they have to go somewhere. I've never been that type of person. I do want to be that type of person, but responsibilities hit first. So hopefully we could come together and come up with some great ideas and enjoy our brunch, because what else do people talk about during brunch but life? And that's what it is. And for it to be life, you have to live it. So that's where we're turning on to with the weekly brunch. And I hope you tend to join me. I hope to have you join the conversation as well. And I will still be doing buddy check. That is something that's not going anywhere. Um, Myself and Luke are working on our next episode. And I'm not sure if it's going to be on Peter because so much has happened since our last episode that we just want to touch upon. And I've done so much research on different things. So we're going to do that. But I also like to encourage people to pick up a book and read. I know, how ironic. On YouTube of all places. But there's nothing wrong with picking up a book and reading. That's usually where you start to find out what you want to do. That's usually where you get lost. And sometimes that's usually where you have your wonderful vacations and thoughts. So drop in the comments if you're reading a book. What's the latest book you're reading and what do you like about it? I'll share. I'm doing some studying to further my knowledge for my job. So I'm reading a book on Linux right now. And hopefully it'll be beneficial. Some people might be reading something on AI, but I'll leave those type of discussions later for the brunch. All I ask is that you like, subscribe, and share this with anybody you think could benefit. Also, I am also going to start doing on this channel um, videos only for subscribers. So there are going to be some videos pop up that will be only available to you if you subscribe. And hopefully, as this community grows, we will have community exclusive videos. So today is a beautiful day here in New York. It's a little bit windy. So if you're wearing a hat, make sure it's securely on. It's a bit cold. So if you have your jean jacket, your spring jacket, because it does feel like spring right now, which is I am very, very happy for. A bit chillier than I would like, but listen, everything in its time. Yesterday, I heard the birds chirping so beautifully after the downpour, which made me so happy. So go out, enjoy life. It's a beautiful Sunday. I think I'm going to start some sourdough and some fermenting for some bio help, probiotic help. There you go. Probiotic help. And maybe we could continue this conversation on bettering our life in the aging process and share some ideas. Until next Sunday, enjoy your Sunday. Be your beautiful self this week and see what we can do to find time for ourselves. And if you try out the pelvic Pilates, let me know. Does it help? Does it not help? If you are male and you listen to this, I can't tell you males what you're going through because unfortunately I'm not a male and I don't know what you're going through this time, but I know you're going through something and maybe I'll have a chance to hit up Luke and have him share his aspect of it. Maybe we'll hold that on our joint podcast. But till then, have a beautiful Sunday. Have a beautiful, productive week. And be you. Because you're precious, you're appreciated, and you're beautiful.